Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Stephanie Liu, and welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Live. Hey, you guys, today I have an amazing show for you. I am beyond excited. I have the Peg Fitzpatrick on Lights, Camera, Live. I'm officially freaking out, and you should freak out too, because if you've been wanting to learn how to use Pinterest, I have the Pinteresting marketing expert on the show for you today. So if you're just tuning in, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from. I'm here in San Diego, and let's go ahead and bring Peg onto the show. Peg, where are you?
Hi, I'm in New Hampshire where it is not sunny, but I have a Diva light.
Diva light. Diva light is everything, isn't it? Do you also have like the selfie ring light to put on your phone?
I do have the selfie ring light. First, I had the Lumi camera, the Lumi case, which was the Kim Kardashian thing. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that story when she was like, she had it backstage at the Oscars and everybody was like, what is that? How does she have perfect light? She is an investor in that company. Have you seen the Lumi cases?
I didn't know that she was an investor. Really?
She didn't disclose it anywhere.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, the Lumi case is awesome because it has lights all around it and it has a little button. But I do have the selfie light that goes on. It has a couple settings because you never know when you're going to need a picture and the light's not going to be perfect.
I love it. All right.
Right?
So we already have Mike Alton tuning in from St. Louis. So thank you, Mike Alton, for joining the show. We have Sean from Toronto. And surprise, surprise, it's raining in St. Louis. So
Well, here's a little Mike Alton story.
Please.
I found you, Stephanie, through Mike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mike and I have been friends for a bazillion years because we met each other on Google Plus back when that was awesome. And then Mike met you at a conference a while ago. So he was talking about you because Mike is, let's face it, the most generous person and he shares everybody's content and he's so kind. So anyway, I found you because of Mike. And then if you don't know people, I stalked Stephanie on Facebook in front of her, which I never do that either. So it was
okay.
random.
I'm so happy I'm not on camera because as soon as she said that, you guys, I literally was just like, I die. Okay, so all right, you guys. So today's show, we are talking about Pinterest marketing tips, insider tips for entrepreneurs. So if you guys have been wanting to drive traffic to your website, this is the episode that you should go ahead and tune into. And if you know anyone that would be interested, go ahead and tag them in the comments. If you're a part of any Facebook groups or if you want to share this to your timeline, go ahead and do that now because we are going to get into the thick of it. So before we get started, let me tell you why the Peg Fitzpatrick is so super badass, okay? I wish I had drum roll music for you, Peg. I would just like... All right, you guys. So Peg is the co-author of the best-selling book, The Art of Social Media, Power Tips for Power Users, which is co-authored with Guy Kawasaki. Please tell me how that happened.
I met him on Twitter.
Twitter? Oh my gosh. Okay.
It was like, 7 years ago. So I met him on Twitter. I was starting a Twitter chat and I tweeted him.
And it just happened.
And he responded. He responded. At that time, he was on Twitter all the time because that was his favorite. So I tweeted him and I said, hey, I'm going to read Enchantment for my first book club. But I actually didn't think he'd respond because even at that point, he had a lot of followers. And he tweeted me back and he said, hey, I'd love to come to your book club. And I was like, it was like a real aha moment for me. Like, oh my gosh, you can speak with authors whose books you're reading. It was amazing. Like I was like, and then it just snowballed from there. That's a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's like, I'm so in love with you right now. Okay. So Guy Kawasaki, you guys, has dubbed Peg as the best social media person he's ever met. And
is that a compliment or what coming from him?
That is a compliment. And honestly, she's probably going to be like the best guest I've had on this show.
You're the best guest on your own show. You're awesome.
She spearheaded successful social media campaigns for a couple of brand names that you already know. Brands like TJ Maxx, Adobe, Motorola, Audi, Google, Virgin. Oh my goodness, Peg. Welcome to the show. Beyond excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I'm super excited. As I mentioned, I love your Facebook Lives. You're fantastic. So I'm happy we connected.
All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and get started about this whole Pinterest thing. So, okay. I still think that there's this misconception that Pinterest is only for women and it's only for moms, right? Like, what would you say Pinterest is best used for these days?
So here's the thing, Stephanie. I saw from the very beginning when Pinterest was in beta. I was not a mom blog. I'm a mom, but I'm not a mom blogger. I don't write about mom things. I barely even talk about mom things. It's just not, that's not what I do. But I saw really early on that there was potential for marketing. It's just people weren't really thinking of it that way. They were like, oh, you go and you pin things. And honestly, I'll tell you, like a revelation I had way in the beginning was, oh my gosh, you can click on that and it goes somewhere. Like I used to pin things all the time. We're talking, this is when it very first started. But, people use it for all different kinds of things. It's not just for recipes and makeup tutorials. You can find those there and they're amazing there. Like that is a true story. But if you're marketing, if you have a product, it's definitely the place to be because everything links out. Everything is gold there. I mean, every single thing, like Instagram, a lot of people get Instagram and Pinterest confused. They think, well, they're the same. Why should I have one if I have the other? Instagram, I'm already there. They're 100% different. And as time has evolved, they've even diversified even more from what they were. And to be honest, I picked Pinterest. I was on Instagram too, like way early on that, back when it was a little app and nobody else was on it. So it wasn't even fun. I didn't know anyone at all. I couldn't connect with people. So it was like, wow, there's like 3 people on this app for photos. Does anyone want to do it? So I focus more on Instagram. On Pinterest. And even so though, like my follower count, which this will be relevant later, my follower count on both of them is about the same, Pinterest and Instagram.
Wow.
So they about the same. I have like maybe 35 or 36,000 followers on each.
Wow.
Each of them. But guess which one brings me blog traffic?
Pinterest.
Where do you have to hustle your behind off to get traffic or people to notice you?
Yeah. Okay. Goodness gracious. All right, you guys, I'm totally loving this because Pinterest for one of my clients, he's an LGBT blogger, 2 dads with baggage. He has, 2 gay dads and 2 adopted daughters. And he was very much like, Stephanie, I don't think Pinterest is going to work out for us. And we had someone on our team fully dedicated to Pinterest, and now all of a sudden we're getting 54,000 monthly page views just in terms of that. And that probably pales in comparison to what you have, but for someone...
But here's the thing though, that besides just the views, how many followers does he have?
Oh, he doesn't have a lot of followers.
Right.
Oh, good. Oh, I see what you did there.
You don't have to have a lot of followers. I snuck you into answering that for me.
Yeah, okay.
But that's another beautiful bonus of it. I have like 36,000-ish followers, and I get 2.6 million impressions a month.
That's insane.
It's a lot. So it's all about coming up with a strategy that works for you. I can see their stuff being super popular there. I don't know what they write about or what they share, but I just think even the title of it is so cute. Like, I just think it would be popular. So yeah, it's not just it's for anything that you want it to be for. That's the other thing about Pinterest is it's really personal. Like what you share in your Pinterest, I learn about you. So if I go to your Pinterest, I should learn more about Stephanie, which I should have done that before just to see like.
Oh God, I was like, please don't. It's probably like nursery stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but that would tell me more about you, right? I mean, okay, sometimes they're aspirational. Sometimes, or like you would know, I was planning a trip to Italy and I was like voraciously pinning because for like the past year, I've been pinning because I've been so excited about this trip that I just finished up. But I pin stuff all the time for that. I pin things for the holidays. I was pinning like mini pumpkin pies today. Like, how awesome does that sound? Mini pumpkin pies. Imagine that.
Yes. If you guys like pies, go ahead and leave the comment pies, please.
If pumpkin is your favorite, leave a message, leave a comment. If it's not your favorite, I will send you my grandma's pie recipe, and it's the best in the world. So then you will love pumpkin pie. But anyway, so it's really a place where you share personal things, but also it can be for your business. So not to confuse the two, but so you can have boards that are just for you, or you could have boards that are like just for your business. people always ask me if I'm a business, should I have a separate one? Like if you had one bit for you and one for your company.
Sure.
I don't. I have everything on mine because I'm not like Coca-Cola. I'm me. And then I have other things. So I just have those on separate boards. I feel like people really like to see more than one thing. The company that I manage, they're a dry cleaning chemical company. Which is a challenge, but there's a lot of different ways to connect because I have like a boho wedding board, which
Mm-hmm.
people, dry cleaners do wedding restoration, wedding dresses, and all those things. So it's very relevant. And so those boards are popular. I have dream closets. I have like eco-friendly house cleaning, homemade things, like all different kinds of things, recycled projects, those, and they all relate back to different aspects of the company. So that account has like maybe 600 followers, and I get like 40,000 impressions a month. I stay really targeted and really focused, and it does bring traffic back to our blog because of that.
Wow. And so, okay, you guys, listen, we had like this whole list of questions, but when you talk to Peg, it's just like, wait, now I want to learn more about this. So if you guys have questions, drop them in the comments because I'm about to fully geek out with her. Okay, so just the fact that you know that one account is driving so much traffic to your blog, I'm assuming then that you are tracking the analytics or you're using some type of like Google UTM parameters to say like, okay, this is coming from this board or this business account and whatnot. Is that right?
I use a couple different things. I use Google Analytics. Yes, you can see those in there. I will have to say I don't add a UTM code to like each pin that I do because I
That's a
just don't
lot.
have that much time. I have a lot. I pin like a lot of content from mine specifically, but I also have Pinterest Analytics, which tells me a lot, and then I use Tailwind, which is my very favorite thing. And there's tons of analytics in there too. So I feel like I always have a handle on things because I check those. But yes, if you were managing it for a client and you were tracking a specific campaign or different things, you can 100% do UTM codes for every single pin and all your important content. But you can find it through other analytics as well. Depends on how deep you are into it.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so we already have someone jumping in here. Pam Brossman, you are new to the show, so wonderful to have you here. And she's asking Peg, how are you monetizing your pins and your boards? I'm assuming this probably has to do with like affiliate marketing. Is that something that you specialize in too?
Well, there's different ways that you can monetize your Pinterest. It depends on what your overall goals are. I do have some affiliate marketing that I do that I coordinate with blog content. So, for example, I have Bluehost as someone that I do affiliates with. I only do affiliate things for companies that I really love. I have to use them and really love them because if I'm telling you about it, that
Yeah.
means that I'm giving you my word on that. That's important to me, like really important to me. So, and it should be if you're going to do affiliate market. So if you want to do, I mean, it should be, you can make your own markup. I don't know what you have to do, but yes, you can do affiliate sales. You just have to make sure that you disclose everything because that's really important on your website and in your pins. You would want to say that it's sponsored. So I don't specifically monitor my Pinterest. For me, I'm a blogger. So my whole world rotates around pegfitzpatrick.com. It's like, that is like my planet. And then I have little things in my solar system.
Okay, I love that analogy. You know what? I've always described it as like social media as like my digital breadcrumbs, and if they want like the
Yeah.
full buffet, then they go
Yeah.
to they go to the website.
It's
But I love
great.
the planetary thing. Okay,
Right.
cool.
But that's, you have to decide what your home base is. There are some people who only have Instagram and they only have Pinterest, but I will tell you, having your own home base on the internet is so important because, and a perfect example, which I already mentioned, is Google Plus, where I am a verified Google Pluser and I have like 1.5 million followers there, and they're closing it.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Because Mike Alton was just like, you guys.
There's nothing you can do, but that's why Mike has a website. I mean,
It's true.
it stinks that you have all of that, but I have never put all my eggs in one basket. I mean, let's talk about Vine. Shawn Mendes is famous, and we all know who he is today because that kid made some great vines, and then they closed it.
Yeah.
Thank God he got the record deal first, right?
Well, and that's a good point too because I had a Facebook Live broadcast and then it accidentally got deleted because of a Facebook glitch. And I was like, oh my goodness, that sucks. Fortunately, though, I have Ecamm for my Facebook Live broadcast, and it kept the HD recording. So instead of just re-uploading the video as if it was a live video, I went ahead and I snipped it, and I just made it into a 4-minute video. Boom, boom, boom. This is what you got to know, and that was perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it wasn't lost. But that's always the thing. Like, you can't put all your eggs in someone else's basket. So I don't want. So there's a lot of ways that you can monetize Pinterest. You could have affiliate things. You could work with brands to create campaigns, but still, that would to me lead all back to your blog, because on Pinterest you just have the image and a little bit of text. So yes, if you had millions of followers on Pinterest, you could get someone to pay to do that. But I've never had any brands reach out to me specifically only to do Pinterest.
Oh,
For a Pinterest only campaign. So, but I've had, I've had that be part of the campaign. Like TJ Maxx, for example, one of the best brands. Raise your hand in the comments if you love TJ Maxx and you would try to only go once a week, because if you don't, you'll get too much stuff. I love TJ Maxx so much. They found me from my blog. They found my blog and they did a Google search, and my blog popped up, but I think it also was a Pinterest pin. I've gotten speaking engagements from Pinterest pins that have ranked really high in Google search.
Oh, wow.
Pinterest pins can rank in Google search. You can rank for a pin. So I have one that's on how to do Pinterest marketing, and that's led to a lot of great things because I wrote about that really early. I've gone back and updated the post. So there's different ways that you can earn money. Like, it could be, TJ Maxx. I popped up higher in search and they clicked on my website. They liked my website. So it's usually like a combination of things. And I don't just do affiliate. I haven't, I'm not Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn makes $1 bazillion. He's like the king of affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
Darren and Pat like cornered the market on making money from that. So good for you guys. I love you both. But I don't make as much as they do from it. So it's not my biggest thing. So you could make money from that, or you could have an Etsy shop. You could have, if you create digital products or anything like that, you could be on Creative Market, which is another one. And you could do links to Creative Market. Creative Market also has affiliate programs. So you could find ways, if that's what you wanted to do, if you're not a creator and you're not sure how to do it, you could start out doing that. Like, you could create a really great Pinterest presence. You could talk about WordPress, blogging, and then you could sign up for Creative Market's affiliate program, and then you could link to things in there, and you would make money when people clicked on that. That actually, my design blog, my design boards on Pinterest do great. I have some do-it-yourself design blogs, and I pin a lot of things. I used to work with Canva way back in the day. Before what Canva was. I did. I kept it a secret, but then I actually worked there for a while. And so I worked on Canva's Pinterest and my Pinterest. And they have like, I don't even know. I think their Pinterest is up to like 1 million or 11 million impressions a month or something like that. It's insane. Yeah. And guarantee that drives business for them. But when I started, they were like, Pinterest doesn't do anything for us because it just doesn't work. They said Pinterest doesn't work. And I was like, well, like typical me, if you guys knew me, Mike knows me, I'm stubborn. So if you tell me like Pinterest doesn't work, I will make your Pinterest work.
I love it.
Mike told me Pinterest didn't work, and then I went and I gave him some unsolicited advice. Which I do that with Jeff C. also. Jeff gets a lot of my unsolicited. Jeff, hey, you know what you should do? But anyway, it does work for businesses, but you have to do it in the right way. And they had somebody that was pinning things, but she didn't really know. Like, she was doing and managing a ton of different things at the time. Yeah. She didn't know all the things. And so with some quick updates, it immediately started getting traffic.
Brilliant. Okay, so one of the questions that we have so far, Peg, is for someone that is a busy entrepreneur, right? Like, we've now opened up the floodgates in terms of this is what you can expect, or this is the opportunity that Pinterest has to offer. So as a busy entrepreneur, how can you fit Pinterest into your schedule with creating your content, live streaming, repurposing it, pinning, and all that other stuff?
The best thing about Pinterest is it takes a lot less time than everything else does. Less time especially because you don't have to talk to people there at all, unless you wanted to. You don't have to comment. You don't have to respond to comments. You don't have to respond. Like, there's zero expectation of that at all. So they tried to add some of those features in, and people just really were like, We already talked. I think everybody talks on Facebook Messenger. Like, where do you guys talk to people? I'd love to know. I think Instagram messages and Facebook messages are still like super popular for people to talk to each other. Pinterest, I never talk to anybody there at all, and my Pinterest does great. Like, so if you took all the time that you spent talking to people on Facebook out, imagine how much more time you would have just to do things,
That's
right? Because
you'd be so much more productive. That's how I feel like whenever I'm talking to the 360 marketing squad. Like we're always sending each other gifts and whatnot. Okay, but you've talked a lot about tools that you're using.
yeah,
That's making it really easy for you. And P.S. by the way, if you
yeah,
guys are just joining, we're talking about Pinterest marketing tips. And one thing that I just want to call out, because what blew my mind was Peg was just like, this is how many followers, or this is how much page impressions we're getting and how much traffic, but you don't need to have a lot of followers in order to make that happen. And I was just blown away. So if you guys are
right.
tuning in, for sure, grab your pens, get your notebooks, because like I'm sitting here trying to manage this show, but like, I need this. Okay, so let's talk about your
Yeah, we
tools.
can give you a Pinterest makeover sometime.
I would love that. Okay, let's talk about Tailwind because that was one of the tools that
Yeah.
you had mentioned.
Yes. So Tailwind is the tool that I love. There are a lot of tools now that you can pin things from them, but they don't work like Tailwind does, and they have like a system where you can repeat things easily. So, for example, you can go in, you can create a schedule in Tailwind. You can just do one chunk. Like if you're focused, which you should be if you're a marketer, you know exactly where you want to lead people. You spend your chunk of time doing your blog. You're doing your pins.
Yes.
You're creating, like, okay, so we're taking this show, for example. We're going to turn it into a blog post. We're going to pin the blog post. We're going to make quotes from the pins. We're going to like create like a couple different ways to pin things. One of the things that people do is they do one thing. They don't do it the right size. So if you just make one tall image, that's going to do a great job for you. But if you want to excel, you could do more different kinds of things. Repurpose it in different ways. Like I know you had something that you did recently on how to repurpose your Facebook Lives. It's the same for Pinterest. So you could do one thing, and that's great. But if you want to succeed, you just need to do a couple more. So if you chunk your time in Tailwind, you can create a whole bunch of different things for your specific blog, for specific brand boards. I have probably 100 Pinterest boards. They are not all for my brand. Some are for a vacation. Some are for recipes. Some are for color inspiration. I use it for a whole bunch of different things. So but I focus on my board, that is my blog post, and then I have another one that's like blogging tips, and I have some that are Pinterest tips. So those are like my focus that are going to have my blog content on it, the most important. So I schedule things in those, and then I fill all the rest of the schedule in with like holiday things, seasonal things, and then those are popular at all different times of the year. So one of the great things that I haven't mentioned at all is that Pinterest pins last a really long time, as opposed to tweets, which are gone in like 10 or 15 minutes, and Facebook posts and Instagram posts. Like all those things disappear. People delete your email, but Pinterest pins live on. And I have a great example that I just got today in my email. One of the best things you can do is sign up for Pinterest email, which I never recommend that either because I hate getting email. But Pinterest sends the best email out, and it's all like things. They send you pins that you might like, and the more you pin, every email, I like all the pins.
Oh,
I will
wow.
go pin all the pins. They're so targeted. They're so good with watching what you do and sending you things that you want. So it's very, very helpful. But they also send out things like today I got one with November trends. So it's the beginning of November and it has trends. So I'm going to go fill my Pinterest queue up for the month in Tailwind. This email had like 8 different trends, and I can add those into boards that I already have, and then they'll be popular.
Okay, I have an idea
Uh-huh.
because okay, I feel like everyone has like their content calendar in terms of the themes that they have for specific months. So
Yeah.
what if you actually did keep all of the Pinterest emails, and then what if if you could reverse engineer their content calendar and be like, okay, every November they talk about XYZ. Every
Yeah.
December they
Yeah.
talk about XYZ. And then you could just pre-populate your boards and then just be like, okay, maybe I'll show up in the newsletter blast. That's a possibility,
Right.
right? You could do that.
You could. And actually, I was just trying to find it, but Tailwind already made that little calendar. But yeah, that is an amazing idea. Because even if you're just blogging, even if you're blogging or Facebook Live, say you're creating your Facebook Live calendar for the month, you could use their trends and then you know that those are going to be more popular because they're already trending. So one example was a pin for essential oils. Those are so popular. Everybody's talking about them. Like, do you use them? What do you use them for? And there was one that was immunity boosting essential oils, which we're getting into like cold and flu season and everything. So I guess people, and it was like up 1,000% year for the year. Right.
Yeah.
And so I always like to see, well, like what was so popular. So I clicked on it, clicked through to the blog post, and then I clicked on the pin, and it went to this one lady's pin, and it was an Instagram post from somebody who sells the essential oils. So she had done an Instagram post in 2015, which was really cute. It had like immunity boosting, just some like text from Word Swag or Canva or something, and it had like it was a cute, like a little flat lay, but she had a really great description, and she was good. She had her email in there and her phone number for sales. And it wasn't like, but it was written very well. It was like, hey, if you're worried about your immune system, blah blah. Like, it wasn't salesy, it wasn't pushy, but she did that Instagram post in 2015.
That's insane.
And now she's going to get a flood of traffic. I actually don't even know her, but I sent her a message on Instagram saying, hey, just so you know, your pin was featured. Now, the interesting thing is she didn't actually pin that. Somebody else pinned her Instagram post.
Wow.
So she can't actually edit the pin or anything like that. But if that happened to you, you could edit the blog post. So say, for example, if Mike Alton's blog post went viral after he freaked out,
about Google Plus.
He could always go back and edit that a little bit to add something else. Like I did that for my Pinterest marketing blog post. I added like my Pinterest class, Pin It Like a Pro. I added my class at the bottom in case, hey, if you like this article, maybe you like, obviously they might like more, right? So it lasts a really long time. So that is just something. So if you're already on Instagram, you could create a board with all your Instagram content. Or if you're already like, I do Instagram posts for my blog posts, I could pin those. So it's not the optimal size, but square is pretty close to the optimal size and nothing gets cropped or anything. So yeah, they just last so much longer. I have pins from years and years ago that still bring lots of traffic to my blog. Some of them aren't even, oh gosh, I just saw one the other day that was like, oh, I wrote it so long ago. It's such a bad blog post, but it was like, how to have a positive, happy day. Like it was just quotes to like, be happy. It was like barely any writing. And it has like thousands of repins.
Wow, that's amazing.
People liked it. So thousands of sound, like from years ago. I think I even wrote that one in like 2011.
Very cool. Okay. All right. So we talked about,
God,
but I'm like, my face hurts because I'm just smiling so much. And obviously like all the comments are just like people are like, oh my God, I'm taking notes too. Okay. So we talked about Tailwind. Is that like the only tool that you're using right now for scheduling and
it's the only one I use it's the only one I use for Pinterest. There are other ones that you can use. Buffer has it, but honestly, there's a lot of features in Tailwind besides just the fact that I love their schedule. You can, so say you do what I said and you go and you do your chunk for your big group of your brand important things. Then you're filling it in with other content. They have a little button so you can just shuffle it all and then it mixes it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it won't have like all of Stephanie's things in a row. It'll have like Stephanie's blog post, Instagram post. It'll have trip to Italy. Like it mixes it all up. So when people go, because you don't want your pins to be like all yours.
That's true. Yeah. Because there's also tribes, right?
Pardon me?
There's also tribes. Do we want to talk about tribes a little bit?
So yeah, getting into other things there. There are tribes. So it's kind of like Triber, which was I don't know even know if people use Triber anymore, but it's kind of like a way to join a group of people and then you can share content. So you can have tribes that like you can start one and invite people. I have one that's an Instagram tribe and it's only to share Instagram content. I have other boards that people have invited me to that are like Pinterest boards or just social media boards. So I'm always really picky to make sure that like people are actually sharing in them, that they're not just blasting their stuff. that it's monitored. You want tribes that are focused, because you want to be able to go in there and find great things. It's a quick way to add other content, and you're helping people. So if I share your things, you might share my things. It's reciprocal. That's kind of like the community building aspect, and that's how you connect with people, is if you like them, share some of their things on your pins, and that they'll notice if they start getting repins. So there's tribes, and then there's another thing that I'm totally blanking out on the name for, but it's where you can just...
it's the smart thingy that they just did, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it had a different name on it.
Yeah.
So, there's a feature in there where you can like add your blog content, and then it just repeats it on a
That's
certain
cool.
evergreen content.
But you were
Because
saying, earlier, like, you could create your one image and then pin that, but go a step further and create different versions of your pins. Do you
absolutely.
have like a shortcut tool that could help you do that? Or are you just creating like a Canva template and then you're just duplicating it, swapping photos, testing different things? Like, what's your recommendation?
I do a couple of different things. So I do have Canva. I've used Canva for so long that I have so many blog posts in there. What I do is I like to use my analytics, and I go back to see which pins were popular, like what styles got repinned, and then I'll reuse that template. So kind of like testing your own content, like, did this image do well? Because sometimes you might do a tweak or something, and it's like, people didn't really repin it, it wasn't popular, so then I wouldn't repeat that kind. I also use Easel. I don't know if you've used Easel. Shout out to Annette, because she left a comment saying that she was thinking of coming to watch this. But Easel, they're so nice. They made some templates for me, so I have some like custom ones that they made. It has a lot of different features in it that I don't use yet, because it's like a little bit more complicated, but it has like more layers and more things, but you can create really unique content. So I like to use Canva and Easel, and what I'll do is I'll make a great pin, and then you could also repurpose that as an Instagram story. You can resize it.
That's very cool. Okay,
So
so as you've been mentioning the different platforms, so shout out to Tailwind. We showed their website. Now I have Easel on here, so she'll get her love and her shout out.
yay.
So you were saying Easel is the one that kind of has all these different templates that you could use aside from
Yeah, it's a
Canva?
little, yeah, there, and you can make gifs in there too. So you can make gifs of your things, and you can share the gifs on Pinterest. You can pin gifs. So you could
Oh,
make something a little animated. So say, for example, you wanted to do like, Pinterest is not great for like an announcement for something. Like, for example, we were going to be live, so I was on Instagram stories saying, hey, I'm going to be live, come join me. But you wouldn't do that on Pinterest, because things take a little bit longer to travel around, and you want timely good things. So that it's not great for announcements. It's great for long-term evergreen content. So when the blog post is live and you want people to go watch it later, you could make a GIF. But you could make a little GIF from the video, and you could like, so there's different things you can do. There's like fun things that a lot of people aren't doing. GIFs are fun. They move a little bit, and we like
yeah.
motion, right?
So if you were to do a GIF, would it be like a square, or would you try to create like a tall GIF? Like, what are
Well,
some?
you can create any kind. You can create. Say you make your Okay, so you're in Easel and you make a tall image, right? Then you can just move around a couple of the elements on it. I've done that before too, like little arrows, like moving. And then when people see it, it's like an image with just a couple little. I'll share one that I made. I'll find one and share it in the comments so people can see it. But you can just make a graphic and just animate like a couple things in it. Like you could do like, hey Stephanie, and you could put, and it could be like a little moving, like hey, you know. So you can do that. You just copy down the pages. They have a little tutorial I'll share. Easel has a tutorial for making GIFs in there on their website. They have a great blog that shows how to use their stuff. So I like to try to do, which I'm sure I know you do the same for Facebook. You like to try to be on the cutting edge of what's out
Oh
there,
yeah.
not repeating and rinsing. So if you have other ideas that you have done, by all means, you guys try them. If you see people are repinning them, keep at it. It's just important that you add content. Most things on Pinterest are repins. So if you create something new, people are going to love it and repin it. I always try to, impart that on people, like just make some new things and pin them.
Yeah.
Make sure that your blog is shareable. Social Warfare is a plugin that works great. You can add the big image into the plugin if you don't want to have a big image at the top of your blog post, if you want it buried. Tasty Pins is another one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's ways that you can just make it easy for people to share. You want to make sure when people come to your website, if they click the Pinterest button, check your blog, what pops up?
Got it.
Are ads popping up? Because people are not going to pin an ad. Is a bad image popping up? Is no image popping up? It's almost 2019, people. You need to have a good image or people aren't going to share it. It's just not going to happen. Social sharing is down a huge amount as it is. So you really need to optimize your content and make it so when people hit the share button, when it goes somewhere, it looks great. So check the pin, the little pin extension in Chrome and see what comes up on your website. You might want to get rid of some things. I used to have some things in the sidebar that would like pop up and you think,
Yeah.
well, people would do that, but they would pin like the wrong size image or something weird.
No.
So you got to, I know, I'm like, why did you pin the small image? So why did you pin the blog header image? That's not the good one, people. But people are going to pin what comes up if they like it. So make sure that you have the big image there for them. But I always start out, when I publish a blog post, I go to Pinterest and I pin it there first to get it
Oh,
going. And then people can like repin it. So with Tailwind, I can hit the pin button and share it. And then I can schedule it into some tribes with one click. And then I could put it into my evergreen thing that's going to repeat forever on a certain board. And then it's just going to keep like rolling, keep rolling. And I
that's
just have to do
brilliant.
it once. That's
Okay.
just one image. So
Okay, so one question that we have from Pam so far is when you're designing pins, do you find that your animated GIFs perform better than your regular images, or do you just split test it and figure out what works best for your brand?
I haven't done a huge amount of gifts. I tested it. I can't say that they were more popular because I have pins that are graphics that have been on there for so long, and sometimes you just get one pin that keeps going on and on and on, and those are graphics. But I mean, it could be a GIF at some point. But so far, I haven't necessarily noticed a huge upsurge in traffic from them. But
Mm-hmm.
I still am willing to try stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to try out Easel and do the animated GIFs just to see if that'll get more people to pin a lot of the Pinterest images that I'm working on. Wow. Okay, so wonderful. I love all these ideas. I'm like in my mind, I'm like, I need to get a transcript for this episode, turn this into a blog post, get all those different apps because this sounds brilliant. So P.S. By the way, I just want to give a shout out to Pam, who's been asking a ton of questions. We have who's in here, Mike Alton, of course. So again, if you guys have any questions about Pinterest marketing, this is the time to do it because you could either engage with Peg right now, or you could chase her down the hallways at Social Media Marketing World because I know I will as soon as I see her. So one thing that I also wanted to ask you is, what about group boards? How do you
Mhm.
know if a group board is good or if it's spammy? And does that actually help out entrepreneurs and bloggers?
Good question. They actually are really good, but they could be really bad. So it
Oh,
is important to make sure that you only join boards that, when you can tell really quickly if it's spammy content. If you go into the Pinterest board and it's just all the same person pinning their blog content, everything that they pin goes onto your Pinterest presence.
oh, okay.
So you have to think about that. Like, do I like the content that they have? Because if you're on a group board, when I go to Stephanie's Pinterest presence, that group board is going to show there. So you need to make sure that they represent what you want your Pinterest to represent. So it's a little tricky that way. That being said, when you're in the right group boards, you can get tons of more repins. I'm in some really, really great boards. There's some mom bloggers that I met on Google Plus, which I never would have met them anywhere else. And they invited me to a couple of their like better blogging boards, which like that was kind of the only like their other stuff is all like kids crafts and kids recipes and like really amazing stuff. And they have like amazing Pinterest accounts. And they invited me to their boards where I was relevant, and I'm so lucky because they get more repins because of that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, when you get the right ones, and never just think, well, this person isn't relevant to me because I'm this and they're that. Like that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Connect with people who are interested in doing great stuff. I actually learned a lot from people who are doing different things on Facebook, and you know. Mommy bloggers for some reason got a bad rap, but I'll tell you what, they make a lot of money.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And
So,
daddy bloggers are like stepping into the arena too, so that's amazing.
which they should, because why should it just be mom bloggers? Dad bloggers need to know dads need to do 50% of the stuff, right?
That's true. Okay, so how do you find these group boards? I mean, I feel like a couple of people have reached out to me, which I thought was great. But I was like, but how do I find them? Are there certain tools that you're
Right.
using? Is it manual? Do you reach out to them? Like, how do you even go about the process of, okay, I want to now participate in a group board because Peg told me so, right? Like, what do I do now?
So there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. Some I found, like looking at my Pinterest analytics, if somebody pinned something from my boards and it started getting a lot of repins, I looked at the board to see that it was where it was. And it was on a group board that was getting a lot of interaction. So sometimes the group boards will have at the top, like accepting new applications, like the profile, send me a message, and ask to be on the board. People are really open. If they're open, people are really open about it. Some of them have so many people on it, they're like, this is closed, no more people. Because the people who are monitoring them, some people are spending a lot of time, like, talking to the people, like, don't pin this, don't pin this.
Oh.
They want tall images. People are very particular because it does go on their Pinterest presence, as I already said. So there used to be a website called Pin Groupie. I'm not 100% sure if that's still around. Pin, GROUPIE,
Okay.
.com, and you could search that for like types of boards. And you could also just look on Pinterest. But the best ones that I found were like people who had been pinning similar things to me, and they had like repinned my stuff, and I found it that way. Because there's a thing you can see that says boards that have pinned your boards, that have the most pins on it. There's a lot of great stuff in Pinterest. Like you can see who's pinned your stuff the most and what boards they're on. So you can like do a little research and say, oh, well, this person, this board's doing really well. So then you can, ask. And no one's ever said to me like, no, I don't want you on my board. I have, you do get the random people that invite you to boards. Most of those are not really like the right kind of fit for me. And companies can do group boards too. I'm on a couple of group boards. I'm on one with HubSpot because I was doing something with HubSpot.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember. I have a couple other ones. And Canva's done a ton. That Canva is a good example. They are on a whole bunch of group boards now,
Wow.
helping their stuff get a lot more pins. You just have to make sure, check back on all of them every once in a while. You can't just like leave them and not do anything. And then also you want to make sure that you're actively pinning your content to those boards too. But once you have that, you can set up a little thing in Tailwind. So like every time you had a Facebook Live video, you could pin it in your brand board, and then it could go in a couple of the other ones that were related, and then you can spread it out over time. They have interval. So you could pin it into 5 things with one click, and then it would schedule them out like every 3 days.
I love that. Like I'm all about that. And that's all through Tailwind?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to revisit Tailwind because obviously I'm not using it to its fullest extent, which is why I was like super excited to have you on the show, because it sounds like you are focused on your website, making that your main hub, and then Pinterest is your go-to in terms of driving that traffic. And so,
Yeah.
Realistically, how much time do you spend on Pinterest?
Not as much as I should. I barely spend any time there. For real, I hardly spend any time there at all.
What does that mean? Hardly any time.
Some days I don't even go there. Unless I just happen to go at the end of the day. Like literally, I don't spend that much. I'm being honest. Like
Wow.
I probably spend, and sometimes I tell myself, Peggy, what are you doing? Like if you look at your blog traffic, where are you spending your attention? Like I should tell myself, spend, if Instagram is giving me 10% of my blog traffic, if Pinterest is giving me 60%, why am I spending more time on Instagram?
True. Okay, so then
to me. So literally I'm being 100% honest. I barely spend any time on Pinterest. I pin every time I see stuff to go in there, I put it in Tailwind to make sure I always have stuff scheduled out. And then I pin things live too, like from my phone every once in a while. Like I usually when I'm going in, if it's for business, it's great just to be able to go and do it in Tailwind. If you go onto Pinterest, you might end up start looking at stuff and
down a rabbit hole. That's exactly what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask, do you get dinged if you're only using Pinterest from the Tailwind perspective? Like, are they like sneaking on your profile to say like, no, she hasn't even logged into Pinterest. She hasn't done anything manual. None of that affects you?
I don't think they actually do, but I tend to just do some on my phone too with it because I'm not 100% sure that that's true. But Tailwind is an official Pinterest partner, so everything that they do is up and up with Pinterest. So
yeah, Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So it's funny because Curtis just asked the question. He's like, no, you got to be specific. Is it 2 hours or 3 hours? Like, how much
I don't
time?
even spend 2 or 3 hours. Literally, if you want to count per day, probably 15 minutes. And it should be 2 or 3 hours. I know. For real, you don't have to spend that much time. But I mean, when I have a blog post, when I'm doing a blog post, I do spend time making my image, making the great graphic, and then writing the Pinterest description and adding hashtags, which we didn't talk about yet, but
Ooh,
we'll
yeah.
see if we have time for that. But that's, so literally it's the time for me that's put in the most is when I make my blog post making great Pinterest graphics. And then I also sometimes I like to make inspirational quote graphics to go for my boards because people really like those. And I really like them. I like quotes as a boost, like, start your day off, read a nice, happy thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you also so we talked about like when you have a blog post and you want to create different pins for it, you could do animated graphics, you could use tools like Easel, and you could schedule it. You could use Smart Loop on Tailwind. But if you're in a group board, are they going to look down on you if you are creating like 5 different versions of the same blog post? Or are they just like, no, you can only pin it once and then done?
I would normally only pin it to a group board or in a tribe, just one instance of the blog post.
Got it.
You don't want to be that person that's like, oh, and here's my blog. They're all bloggers. They all see the link. They all see that it's going the same place. I would not like it if people did that in my group boards, so I don't do that. For the group boards and those things, I only pin one instance usually, unless I create something else that I really love. Or if it's like a really long time lapse in between, you can go into the group board and see, like, is there a ton of content going there? Is anybody going to care that 2 months ago I added this blog post? If it's way down, no one's even going to see it. So then in that case, you could do it again. But in the same day, I wouldn't.
Okay. So don't be that person.
Yeah. You don't want to abuse your group boards because honestly, if you get into a group board, say you have like 1,000 followers and somebody and I put you in my group board and I have like 35,000 followers, you want to respect that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to respect your group boards because that can give you a lot of new followers and a lot of new eyeballs, a lot of new people. So I err on the side of like being a really great group board member. I don't overpin. I always like pin other things from there.
Yeah.
If I go to the boards and they're really like, I never like anything there or it's like not really a good fit anymore, then I'll just leave the board.
Yeah. Okay.
And then just focus on, so when I am spending time there, who was it, George?
Curtis.
Who was it?
Curtis Brooks.
Okay. Curtis. Okay, so Curtis, if you have time to spend an hour a day on Pinterest, God bless you. And I would focus on, rearranging your boards for the holidays. So now we're in November and December. Move your Halloween boards down, organize your stuff, put your top boards at the top. If you have any holiday content, put that in your rotating 5 boards at the top. So when people come, they see like really great content. Mm-hmm. And then make new pins for your blog post. That's the thing is like, I only publish like once a week. And honestly, I've been so busy with work that I haven't even been able to do that. So if you're doing new content all the time, add new pins all the time. If you're not creating new content, go find out your top posts and just make more new ones for your old ones. Just make them different, add different images. There's so many different ways that you can just keep the fire burning. I like to go back, like I said, and look to see what the top posts were that people had pinned. Sometimes I'll repin them because sometimes the top pins from your content, like the one I gave as an example earlier, she didn't even repin that. She didn't even add that to Instagram. That was just somebody who followed her on Instagram, pinned it, and now like 3 years later she's getting traffic from that, but she didn't even pin that. So sometimes people are pinning those. So if I was that girl, I would be pinning that thing everywhere. Like I would do everything I can to just I always fan the flame. Anything that I find is like popular or doing well, I'll add a link to that pin. So there's a lot we haven't even talked about that. There's so many ways.
I know that is okay.
To bring people to your pin. So if you have a great pin, if I was that girl, you could add it you could add an email that was going out that week and just put a little PS. PS, oh my God, I can't believe it. Pinterest featured my Instagram. If that was me, I would be dying because guaranteed, Stephanie, that's going to lead to direct sales for her. Pinterest sent out an email. Pinterest. I don't even know how many millions of people are on their email list.
I'm about to stalk their email list. I'm just kind of like every
Back email. It
everything
is.
about live streaming. I'm just gonna subscribe to their emails and just like, what is your content calendar? Just like reverse engineer it and figure out like what people are
Yeah.
putting out
And
there.
I'll put a link for Tailwinds too, so you can get their like what trends every year, because
Yeah.
it's the same. And one of the things that's really different is it's very early. Like right now, Thanksgiving, some things are trending, but honestly, it's been trending for like 2 months already.
What?
Pinners are planners. They plan everything out really early. So Christmas has been like that started in like I swear to God, it was like August. People were like pinning because I have a couple boards that are I have like a homemade love for Christmas. It's like
Yeah.
homemade Christmas crafts and ornaments and things like that. And every year it gets popular. I have a Thanksgiving pin that every year just gets really popular. So it's the only place that things just pop back up. Like I
So
know that
it's, I
no
mean,
tweet of mine from 2015 is popping up.
yeah. Okay, so it sounds like okay, yeah, like Christmas is 30 days from now and whatnot, but it sounds like people are were pinning earlier because they want to get like social proof and get featured that way. Is that what you're
There
saying?
is a lot of people are just really using it to like. Okay, so here's the thing, Michael's. If you drive by Michael's, their parking lot has already been full for a couple months because they're actually making stuff. People are there buying stuff to make it. So people are really planning their lives and what they're when people make things for the holidays, they're way already into that right now. It's November. If you're making all your Christmas cards, you have to start early. I make all my Christmas cards. You have
What?
to I know. I stamp them all. I glitter them. I do all of it. I used to do it a lot, but you have to start really early. So a lot of the people are actually makers and creators. So
Mm,
things just go early. So, and that's a little bit different. Like for Twitter, you're not going to start tweeting about stuff for Christmas in August
yeah.
and September. People are going to be like, no, what are you doing? But on Pinterest, you can pin that Christmas tree any time of year.
No
If
one's
you're
gonna
like
judge you.
obsessed with Christmas, it's your
Yeah.
place.
Okay, so let's talk about these hashtags. So I've got your hashtag freebie on your site up
Oh,
behind
yay.
you because Terry was like all three exclamation points. Tell us about hashtags. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, hashtags. Okay, so when Pinterest came out, and for the first 8 years it existed, they said don't use hashtags. And so I used to tell people don't use it because they told you that it could hurt your pins in the algorithm. So I never ever used hashtags. And then they came out and they said, well, maybe we'll start using hashtags now. And I had like 3 days where I was like hyperventilating. I was like, what about my old pins? What's going to
Yeah,
happen?
how do you edit all of those? I mean, did you have to do it all manually?
You have to do it manually. But I didn't go back and edit them all. I was like, you know what? I can't even do that. Like that's impossible. So I did like my top 20 pins and then I just worked forward. So hashtags, they say that you can use up to 20. They say like use the 20. But
Okay.
it's more important that you pick good hashtags than having more hashtags, just like Instagram. You can use 30, but if you don't have 30 good ones that aren't really targeted to your post, what's the point? So on Pinterest, again, you can create hashtag groups and reuse them. So you could create a hashtag group for each board. So say you have three main brand boards: Stephanie's blog, Stephanie's Facebook Lives, and Hire Stephanie because she's the best at Facebook Lives. Those are your three brand pages.
I'm
And
like,
then
where? I'm like, post-it note, you guys.
you need a big one. You can create a hashtag group for each one and then just cut and paste it into your pins when you do them to make it easy on yourself. So I like to use Trello. Do you use Trello at all?
I use Asana, but same concept, right?
Okay. I'm obsessed with Trello. I have so many boards on Trello. So I have hashtag boards on Trello. They have like just cards with hashtags. So just create hashtag groups for your boards and then you can just cut and paste them. So do the work once and then make sure you save it and then it makes it easier. So just the same as Instagram. So you
Okay.
just want to make sure like you can have the name of the board. You can have, and then just think about things that are trending. You could go through that trending catalog.
Okay.
Like it's fall, y'all, or pumpkin spice, like depending on what things you're pinning. And then just create your hashtag groups, cut and paste it in so it's not rocket science. If you've been pinning for a while, you could do what I did, like go into Google Analytics, find your top top pins and add the hashtags in there.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some that, it immediately saw results for them. Like at Instagram 101 was I think it was even a Google Plus Hangout that I did or something, but I turned it back into a blog post and everything. And I rank high for some things like Instagram, 101 and beginning Instagram because I use hashtags on those. So they're important for your pins. When you click on it, I think you see the most recent hashtag results. So it helps with, keeps things current and relevant. So it's like an interesting mix of things that were newly pinned, and then sometimes you'll just see things that have been there for a long time.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm like still trying to take notes and run the show. Oh my God. I love this. And shout out to Mike Alton, who is dropping the links for all of Peg's guides, the website, Tailwind, easel, all this stuff. You are the man. So you guys, we've been talking for almost an hour now, Peg. Seriously, like I could talk to you forever. Like I want to message you every day and just be like, this is what I'm doing.
You can.
So go ahead and check out Peg's website because there's so much in here. I'm diving headfirst into this and going to just have my buffet of of Pinterest info. But I was going to ask you, and God, now the question is kind of escaping me. Darn it. I'll have to ask you again. In fact, you guys,
Okay.
like if you have any questions too and you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, just drop them in the comments because Peg has solely been focused on just like looking at the camera and not even looking at the comments. But she said that she'll go ahead and ask those too. Okay, so going back to Pinterest. Okay, I'm all in. You've officially convinced me that like, sorry, Instagram.
I still like Instagram too. It's just if you're looking for like blog traffic or click throughs, honestly, Pinterest is just better
Yeah.
for everyone. Everybody that puts their effort into it, it ends up paying off. I'm not, no exaggeration at all. Everybody that's followed the things that I tell them for Pinterest gets more traffic. It's
Okay.
just, it's not that hard. That's the thing. Maybe it seems like it. Honestly, it's so much easier. Like Facebook, you have to know so much and hustle and, answer the questions and make sure you're there fast enough or your page will get down ranked. And then this changed and that changed. Pinterest is like all your stuff just keeps going out and you're like, oh, hey, forgot to go to Pinterest today. Still pinned. It's so good.
I'm like literally sitting here like, what have I been doing with my life? Why have I not been pinning? Okay, so you do majority of your pinning anyway on your phone? Is that how you do
Well,
like your
I do a variety. I mean, because it is like a lot of big blog traffic for me, I use it for reference. I use it for so many things like inspiration. I'm looking for ideas. Like I use it a lot on desktop, but like at night, I just like to pin.
yeah.
Like it's a lot, 'cause sometimes the last thing I'll do is, go through stuff. I check my boards, see what Mike pinned, see what Jeff pinned. Like I see what my friends are pinning. And I just like to see what's going on. I know it's like interesting. Instagram saying like, how you're just scrolling through and then they do suck me in with their email too. I have to say, like their email, like we found 20 pins that you'll like on mini pumpkin pies, and I'll be like, I think I never heard of a mini pumpkin pie. Now I really do want it.
I kind of want one now too. I'm like, why am I like all of a sudden so hungry and thirsty and just
I know. Here's the thing I found. Okay, I always make regular pies, but somebody took like the biscuit cutter and they did this. They took it into the pie and they just cut out these perfectly round circles of pumpkin pie, and then they did Cool Whip, so it looks like a fancy restaurant like dessert that was. And I was like, who thought of that? I mean, I don't know what happens to the rest of the pie. I'm assuming that your husband just eats it.
that that's okay. We did do that because my husband made this tres leches cake, right? And then he made all the layers, and then we have like this Minnie Mouse cookie cutter thing, and so we cut that out for our daughter, and then he just ate the crumbs.
Right. Right? We're like, oh, there's extra. Can't go to waste. But yeah, so I do it on my phone when it's just like me away from the computer. I count that as not computer time. That's what I tell myself. But I do use it on desktop too. And then of course, because I write about it and talk about it, I'm always like looking, you know what I mean? Like a little bit more desktop just because it's my job too,
Yeah. Okay, I remembered my question, and I have to ask you because if I don't ask it, I'm gonna pull my hair. Okay, so if we are creating all these different pins for like let's say one blog post, but
Mhm.
sometimes like those other versions don't fit in with our brand guidelines, but they're like the top performing pins, would you still take that pin and embed it into your blog post, or would you only keep the one that fits in with your brand colors and all that other stuff?
That's a good question. It depends on your blog, like how strict is your blog? Because there's different things you can do. You can embed the pin, like you just mentioned, like you can pin it and then go back and embed it. And there's, if you have some that are doing well, you could even create a blog post like top 3 holiday pins, for example, and put them, embed them so they're in there. I make all my pins on brand, so that's hard for me to answer.
Okay. Okay. I asked because for the client I was telling you about for Two Dads of
Yeah,
Baggage, she would usually design like 5 to 10 different pins per blog post. And
that's awesome.
sometimes she was just like, Stephanie, we're just going to test it out and see if this font color or, this typeface is going to work better. And sometimes it's the ones that I'm like, no one's going to pin that. But they pin it. And I'm like, oh crap, if I actually put this on the site, client will just be, no, I don't want that. So I was curious what
Right.
your thoughts are.
Well, in that case, if it's really off brand and their blog is super strict on all of their things, then I wouldn't,
Got it.
because that's important to them and they have their brand. But that being said, like even on my own blog, like I've gone through. I started blogging in 2011, so I don't even know how many makeovers I've had, but it's been several. So if you go back, there's still going to be different ones on there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
different fonts, different styles. So it's not the end of the world. I try to stay on brand. I mean, if that was the case and you had one that was super popular, maybe I would have their branded graphic at the top and the pin down at the bottom. Like if you loved this, pin this.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be the first thing that you saw. Like it could still have all their on brand stuff,
Got
and
it.
maybe just surrounded enough with other stuff so you know what I mean. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a tough question. That's a good question, but it's a tough question.
Well,
I would say if they're really strict with their brand guidelines, then I would just do them different ones for Pinterest, and I think that's fine. I mean, I do it all the time. Like I said, I change different things to make them a little, if you're doing 10 different versions, you can't make them all look the same.
that's true. Yeah,
Or
that's why I was wondering because yeah, she would change like the border colors, the type fonts, and maybe like a different image. And so
right.
yeah, okay,
Sometimes the title is different, sometimes the title is the same. So I think it's good to test because sometimes exactly what you said, sometimes the one that you think, same with headlines for blog posts. Sometimes you'll tweet something and then it will be really popular and you'll be, that was the one I didn't think was going to be popular, right? Doesn't that
yeah.
always happen?
Well, and it's always funny too because sometimes I feel like the tweet that has the typo is the one that gets retweeted the most, and you're like, no,
I know. And then you're like, do I edit it or
do I
not edit
delete it
it?
because it's already been retweeted? Okay, yeah.
No, no, not if it really got popular. Then you
Well,
just, every time you look at it, you have to remind yourself, yes, check things before you hit send.
okay. So what about editing your pins? Do you ever go back? Okay, so we talked about you found out that hashtags you can now add hashtags. So you're like,
Yep.
okay, I'll do my top ones. Do you do any other editing? Like what if you changed your blog URL? Like, can you go back and fix that, or is it just kind of
You can.
SOL?
You can edit the URL and you can edit the description. If they're popular, I try not to change anything except for maybe I would add hashtags. I don't
Okay,
want to mess with it if it was already popular. You know
okay,
what I mean?
yeah.
But if you had something that linked that it was a bad link for some reason, like if the blog post is gone or something like that, like I had a horror story. I had a VA that worked for me that deleted a bunch of my blog posts, and they were
Ah,
they were to popular pins.
what'd you do?
I got them all back, so I found a way to fix them so they linked. It was, believe me, at first I was like, what? I like freaked out. But in that case, I found out because the pins weren't leading to it led to a 404. And I was like, that does not lead to a 404. That's a good pin. But if
Yeah.
it was an instance where I changed the URL or I don't know, if you changed something, you could actually fix that. You could go in and edit the URL on it. But I think in general, like I know on Instagram for sure, if you go back and make a typo and you edit it, it kills the algorithm immediately.
Does
You should,
it?
yes. Do you do that?
No, I've never done that, but I've heard some, other gurus say you do your post, you do your hashtags in your captions, and then 30 minutes later you go in, you change it again to do
No,
all
that
that.
used to be the thing before it if you edit anything, if you have a typo in there and you go in and fix it, the post will like it's almost dead in the water. That's my unofficial. Yeah, it does. So if you make a typo, don't change it for like 24 hours because they got sick of people doing that, going back and editing and changing.
I know people have time for that.
Yeah, for Instagram they do. It's their whole thing. That some people that they just have Instagram,
Yeah,
and
okay.
they're probably making tons of money if they're
True.
really successful. So it's worth it, but not anymore because even people used to do it in the comments too. They would put a hashtag group and then delete it, and then go back and do another one and delete it. And but Instagram is on to all the games.
Oh my goodness. And so when that blog post mishap happened to you, how were you alerted that you had the 404 error? Was there something in Tailwind where it gave you some type of like inspection result or
You know
something?
what? I can't even remember how I initially found it. It was just like I think I clicked on a pin and I check things like something was there and I clicked on it or something and it didn't have the rich pin on it or something like there's rich pins which we didn't get to, we won't have time to talk
Yeah,
about,
we
but
won't know.
rich pins are give that bold type on there of the title and that means that your like blog is verified on Pinterest and they know your site's a good site and like the rich pin wasn't there or something and I was just like wait a minute why isn't that, so I clicked and it went to a 404, so I just found it.
Oh
I just
wow.
and it was so many posts, that's like a whole other bad long story, but it was like maybe 20 or more posts they deleted.
Oh God, that sounds so painful.
It was,
Oh.
but I fixed it, so it's not as bad. But if I hadn't figured out how to fix it, it would have been really bad because they were 100% deleted off my website.
Oh God, that
But you
breaks my
can
heart.
actually fix that,
Yeah, that's true.
but
Okay.
still horrible. And who knows how long, like how much blog traffic I lost or Google Juice or whatever.
That's true. That's true.
But I don't
Man.
think about
Okay,
that.
if you guys are like geeking out as much as I am and just like in love with Peg, please go ahead and give us some likes, give us some hearts, give us some shares because she has dropped so much information. And Peg, it's literally been an hour now, and I don't want to take so much time out of your day, but you've been amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put the camera on you, and then I'm going to show off your website. So is there anything
Okay.
that you want me to click on here so people can learn more about you? There's literally people in here that are freaking out.
Oh. Just, if you guys want to sign up I hardly ever email, but if you sign up for an email, I'll send things out occasionally. Or I do have a Pinterest hashtag guide that's really awesome. If you guys want to learn how to create a Pinterest strategy, which I highly recommend, you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just, pin my blog post. That's happy.
That's happy.
And if you guys want to learn more about Pinterest, I do have some great Pinterest boards on Pinterest, like how to use Pinterest, all things Pinterest. I have one that's like Pinterest tips for success. So I do have some carefully curated articles on Pinterest.
I love it. They look so gorgeous. Did you designed all of this? Is that right?
Yeah, I did my website.
My goodness
I love my
gracious.
website.
Yeah, your website is legit.
Thank you.
All right, Peg. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been absolutely amazing. You guys, for sure, I'm going to get this interview transcribed. It'll be in the blog post. This is the one where I'm like, I will pony up $1 a minute just to capture every single word that Peg just said.
Awesome.
So, thank you so much for your time. Again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. But if you want to get started, because I know I'm going to geek out, head over to her website, pegfitzpatrick.com. And Mike Alton will be a doll because he'll go ahead and just type that in the comments for me. So, having said that, we'll go ahead and say bye. Peg, thank you so much. You have been absolutely amazing.
Thank you for having me. And hey to everybody, I will come back and check the comments after. So thanks for
Alrighty.
watching.
All right. Bye, you guys. Bye. Take care. And there we go.